Hello, everyone. Welcome to She Has a Voice with Just a Minister. I am a new podcaster. I'm excited to be here. I got here because I am part of the panel group, and I went to several different events, and it was just given to me that she has a voice. I want to be a voice box for people that is scared or nervous about being a voice box or having a voice to use. So this is me opening up a platform and to tell my story and to share a little bit more about me as I continue this journey. The purpose of this show is to let people know that they don't have to suffer alone. Let them know that somebody else that dealt with what you dealt with or going through the same thing, but know that it's other people out here that have survived most of the things in life and that can help you, can support you, can be there for you. The purpose for this show is I want you to know you have the right to use your voice. No one has the right to take it away. So a little bit about me. I'm a mother of 7 kids. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I am a found author of a book called Shepherd in the Storm. I am an independent paparazzi consultant. I own a nonprofit called Women's United in Sisterhood. And the reason why I decided to do this was because I want people to know my story. My second ex-husband decided that because I wasn't doing what he wanted or doing the things that he wanted to do, he decided to beat me. He decided to stalk my house for 7 hours using his mama vehicle. He decided to break in, force his way into my house, decided to jump on me. My 14-year-old, he was 14 at the time, he jumped in to try to help. My other kids, younger kids saw it. And that what woke me up. I started fighting back. I started talking to God and asking God to please give me the strength to fight them back because I got kids to live for. Not only for my kids, but I wanted to live for myself. So I started fighting back, and he said, B, you hitting me, you fighting me back? I said, yes. I said, because I have a reason to live. I have a reason to fight. People think they have the right to do something to you and think it's okay, and it's not okay. It's not okay for nobody to disrespect you. It's not okay for nobody to call you out your name. It's no right for nobody to put their hands on you. We supposed to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. You are not what they call you. You only is what you answer by. So if people is not addressing you by your title, walk away. Don't answer them because they think the word B is your name. They think the word hoe is your name, but it's not. Your name is what your mom and dad gave you. So I encourage everybody, whatever you're suffering with, whatever you are going through, know that somebody is here. Somebody is here to listen. Somebody is here to support. I just want to make a platform. I'm building me a brand. I'm building not only a brand for me, but for my community because there's so many of us out here. Not just the women's, the men's too. They are out here being hurt. They are out here getting beat just like we are. We losing 20 people a day to domestic violence. 20 people a day. That's a lot. But people are so scared that they got to stay with their attacker and their abuser. They don't. Somebody is here to listen. If one person you tell don't listen, find somebody else. But speak up. Have the courage and the strength to walk away and stay away. Sometimes you got to speak to God. Sometimes even if you don't really have a good relationship with God, ask God to protect you. Ask God to protect your family. Ask God to help you get you out that situation because he will. When I got up out of my situation, I didn't look back. I did press charges. I got a restraining order out on him. I divorced him. And I've been living my best life. I birthed my nonprofit through my pain. I birthed it to give a platform to other families that is going through something. I birthed it because I told God I wanted to use my pain and my strength to be able to help people out here in the community. So I did a conference called I Survived. That was me finally opening up to the world, family, and friends about what I went through and what I suffered with, what I allow myself to take, and how long I allow myself to take it. And sometimes we feel like we have to take things because they said, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love you. You just make me so angry. That's not love. If somebody got to put their hands on you in a violent way, baby, that's not love. You have to know love is an action word. Love is not abuse. Love is not cussing somebody out. Love is not pushing people down a flight of stairs. Love is not pushing a person up against a wall, banging their head, slapping on them, or whatever you decide to do. Love is not sleeping around with other people because you can't get what you want from your mate. That's not love. We're going to have our ups and downs, but the question is, what are we going to do differently to get out of situation? So when I did the I Survived conference, it was a lot of things that my family did not know that I suffer with. They did not understand why did I wait to the conference to tell them things that I did not tell them. For once, I was afraid. And I was afraid that my family and friends would judge me. And I lost a lot of people during this journey of finding me, taking my voice back, living my dream, living my best life, growing more with my children. And I just didn't want no judgment. I was a person that was crying on the inside and nobody heard me. I was crying on the inside, being silent. It's called a silent cry. And I decided February the 8th that I told God I don't want to have a silent cry no more. I want to take me back. I want to take my power back. I want to take my self-respect back. I want to take back everything that he and the devil thought they was going to take away from me. And that's what God did. He did it for me. He didn't do it right then and there, but he did it over time. And I had to keep going through the process of telling God, I don't want to face this pain. I don't want to allow myself to feel it. But he said, you told me you want to be a voice box. And so if I got to be a voice box and want to be a voice box, I have to allow myself to feel the things that I suffered. Whether the feelings was big feelings that was hurt or whether they were small feelings, I still have to allow myself to feel it because I can't heal if I don't feel it. So I decided that it was time to talk to a therapist. That's been the best thing and the best decision I made after going through the attack and getting out. I remember calling my mom and telling my mom that they need to get here. I was more concerned about getting my kids out the house than getting myself out. But the police made me leave. I stayed away from my house for 2 weeks. And I told my mom, I said, I got to go back home. Because the longer I stay with you, then he continued to have control and power over me. And I did not want that no more. And when I say I was done, I mean I was done. I was done to the point that I told my mama, this is my last night, the night before I left. I went back home before my kids got home, and I cleaned up the mess. I didn't want my kids to walk into a scene that had me all over it. A scene that I had to live with because I'm currently still in that same house. But by the grace of God, I will be out soon. But I wanted my kids to know, yes, y'all saw me. Y'all saw me get beat. Y'all saw everything that he did. But y'all saw the fact that I stood strong. Y'all saw the fact that no matter what I was feeling, no matter how scared I was, I chose to take a stand, not just for me, but for them. And my mom asked me, she said, "Are you sure you want to go back? Because the police said you cannot go back to that kitchen." Yes, I'm sure. So a few days after that, I remember dropping my baby boy and my baby girl off at school. And I saw him. Well, pulling up in a parking lot, he decided to block me where I couldn't get out and get my kids into school. So I ended up driving off. No, the security ended up coming out. And then I was able to take my kids in there and leave. Then a day after that happened, that situation, he decided to chase me down the street. And me and my 14-year-old at the time, we was in the truck and I was trying to take him to school. But because I wasn't responding to, he was still currently my husband at the time. When I wasn't responding to him and I wouldn't answer him, I would not say anything. I wouldn't even dare to look at him. He decided to get in his vehicle and chase me and follow me. And I'm telling my son, put your seatbelt on because I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm trying to get away, but you kept following me. So I called the police. The police took forever to come. And I remember going down 51st Boulevard, and he cut me off when I was trying to turn, and I ended up turning left instead of right. And then he ran around and cut me off, and I was on the dead end of the street. Then he got out, started acting like a maniac. And I told my son, I said, there's only one way in here and one way out. So I backed up. And because I was backing up so fast, he couldn't catch up, and I took off, and I got out of sight. But I'm here to tell you now, yeah, I suffer many more things beyond that, but I'm here to tell you, face your pain, face your fears, allow yourself to feel what you're going to feel, because if you don't, he or she will still have the power over you. You don't have to stay in a situation that you got to question yourself or question that person. We oftentimes get into a shell that we think is the best thing for us because of if we don't be obedient or if we don't say the things he or she wants us to say, then we're going to get beat. That's the first thing that comes to mind. We suffer in many ways besides domestic violence. We have emotional abuse. We have physically, mental abuse, and no abuse is good for us. No abuse we should suffer. But because people have the mentality that they want to hurt us, they feel like they have the power and the control. That's not right. That's not the way you should live. And so I had to work through that. I had to learn balance in my life. I had to learn to re-navigate myself. And when I say re-navigate, I had to learn me, like I said earlier in the show, that I had to learn me again. So I learned that I have a powerful voice. I learned that I have an impact. I learned that I got a calling on my name. I learned that I'm a woman of many different talents. I have learned that I can do anything that I put my mind and heart and soul to, and nobody will or have the right to take it away from me. You can make me silent one time, but you can never make me silent for the second time. So that's how She Has a Voice came along. Because we need a platform. I am ordained minister because it's a She Has a Voice podcast with your host, Just the Minister. And going through this, and this is my favorite part to talk about. Going through this, it taught me to reactivate my faith in Christ and trusting him and knowing that he had me, knowing that he was going to protect me, knowing that he had a calling on my name. And so I told God, I said, I promise you, I made a promise that if you get me out of it, I will work diligently for you and you work through me. So I remember sitting in Sunday school one Sunday and I was listening to the Spirit, and the Spirit told me, tell my pastor that God had called me to be a minister. And I went out to Sunday school, talked to the pastor, and he said, okay. So he said, you going to preach first Sunday? I said, okay, pastor. I get home and he called me. He said, you going to preach next Sunday. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. I felt the power of God really move through me. I felt that nobody else in the world mattered. I felt that God knew that I was finally serving him and not nobody else. He knew that I had both foot inside the church. He knew that I was done playing double dutch. He knew that I really wanted him in everything and anything that came with it. And that's when my life started to change. And I mean really change. Not just spiritually, but naturally. And that's when I start loving me again. I start loving me with self-care. I start doing something that makes me happy and focus on me. I start telling people no. I start setting boundaries. What's not reciprocated, what should be reciprocated should be reciprocal. And I learned that going through therapy. Shout out to Dr. Hewitt. She's amazing. But I had to find to love me again. And I do, when I say find to love me again, that means finding out who really is Jessica. Who is Jessica? What is Jessica like? What is Jessica looking for? What does Jessica want to do? What do Jess want? What is going to make Jess happy? When is Jess going to start living for herself and not her kids or anybody else? And that's when I started writing. I told God, I said, I can't turn my brain off. And sometimes when we think that our brain won't turn off, it's because God is still giving us incredible things to do. But sometimes because of our past and it flashes back, we be so scared to test it. Not just test it, but go through it. You'll never know if you're able to do something if you fail one time and don't get back up and try it again. Anytime you do something, that doesn't mean that it's going to work the first time around. There's a saying that says it's not how you fall, but it's how you get up. So sometimes when we fall down and we make mistakes in life, it's okay. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Rewind in your mind, what did I go wrong? Everything was going good to this point. Sometimes you just got to play it back and don't make that same mistake again. What you didn't get right the first time, when you get an opportunity to get up the next day, by the grace of God, you can get what you didn't get right yesterday, today. So God gives you an opportunity. So understand this. Nobody gets up on their own. Alarm clock don't wake them up. It's God. Because if God don't blow the breath in us, we'll be sleeping in our grave. So every breath you breathe, know that it's God. Everything that you have been able to do in life and accomplish, know that it's God. Know that God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. You know, we allow ourselves to get arrogant and big-headed, but why? Because we think we did it all on our own, and we didn't. If it wasn't for him, for his grace and mercy, we could not. And the seasons that I have went through has been good season, happy season, sad season, and blessed season. I lost a lot of people along the way of this journey. And I remember asking God, why? Why is the people that's been in my life all of this time is gone? It's gone. They just dropping off like flies. And he said, because of the places that I'm about to take you, they weren't meant for them chapters in your life. Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, say there is a time and a place and a season for everything. And I had to learn that they was just only for that seasons in my life. Going through the healing process of what I went through with my ex-husband, I didn't expect to go through it alone, but I did. But the best thing I can say, well, I had more time to talk to God. Even tell God when I wasn't happy with him. I had time to tell myself when I realized that I should have left a long time ago. I'm a person that always try to see the good in people no matter what they do. I remember April 24th when we got in court, he was 30-some minutes late. And I told the judge said, what do you want? I said, I don't want nothing but my divorce. I said, that's it. He said, you paid 10 racks for the wedding and bought everything else outside of the 10 racks for the wedding. What do you want? I said, I want my freedom. Because the amount of money that I'd have paid out is not worth my freedom. So I chose my freedom. I didn't want anything. I got exactly what I wanted. I told God that you told me you will multiply it. I just got to trust and believe. So I left it all there. I didn't want anything because I didn't want him to think he had any more power over me. I wanted him to know that I belongs to God and not him. And I was really ready to really start fresh. I met some dope people along the way. I met people that I didn't think were pouring into me the way that they have been. And I couldn't do that if I was still in that marriage, in that relationship, in that dark place in my life. So I am humble. I am honored to say that I came a long way. It was nice that I cried. Yes, that's normal. It was nice that I wanted to turn back because I didn't want to be alone. But them is all the phases we go through when we decide to heal, when we decide to really take us back. There's a saying that I say a lot now. They say you earn up. I say you earn up, I boss up. Because I couldn't be a boss the way I am today if I was still in that marriage. I couldn't be a boss if I was still able to allow him to do what he wanted, when he wanted, and where he wanted. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit here and speak before this camera on today if I was still with him. I probably wouldn't even never wrote the book. I probably never even started my nonprofit organization. But I did. But all that came out there. I didn't really start living till I started healing. And when I started healing, I started living. And I started loving me. I started being my biggest cheerleader. I started being my biggest supporter. And I learned that it's okay if nobody cheers for me. I'd have came to peace with that. If nobody support me, I'm okay with that. Because the biggest supporter of it all, they say yes and no to me, that matters. And that's God. Yeah, he put the right people in your life at the right time. I do give him that. And I'm grateful for the party of 4. I love them and they know who they are. But I'm grateful because even though I healed from a lot of stuff, recent stuff had happened. And being able to talk to them, man, I wish I had them 2 years ago. But God knows just what you need when you need it. And for me, I'm happy. I'm happy because I know it's more good to come. It's greater. I see the vision. and I'm trusting God in the vision. So remember this. Don't let nobody silence you no more. Find your voice and be an advocate for yourself. Thank you.